Good evening everyone, welcome back to Tom Plays Factorio for absolute beginners. We just got artillery working and somehow I failed to notice that I still had a load of shells. So let's load all of those in, shall we? That should solve our remaining bases. Better get myself ready. Okay, brilliant. So this is what we wanted. As far as I can tell, it can no longer find any bases to fire on. So it's just sort of sat hanging there, waiting for a new base to form. And it has 6 artillery shells spare. So that's perfect. That is exactly what we want. So we just need to keep making the artillery shells and hopefully this will slowly fill up. But we can also look at how we're going to set up the next one. We could probably even make the next artillery cannon, it's just that we will need to not connect it yet. Okay, I need a bit more concrete to make one. What on earth is going on here? Serious lack of coppers, what's going on here? Where's our copper train? Alright, I think I will just tell you to move. Because this is just appalling. And it's possible that particular copper mine is less productive than the others. I will need to check them again. I think that is the new one, so I might have put the mines in silly places, as I often do. Right, let's make an artillery. I'll just put the concrete back for now, although we're probably going to need some for the nuclear power. But for now, I would like to look at setting up a coal artillery. Coal mine artillery. It might seem a little unnecessary, because it's at least partially covered already. And if I had one here, it would probably cover the coal mine north completely, but I'd rather overdo it if anything. So I'm thinking about gradually expanding our artillery reach. Okay, let's not hang around too long. Interesting. Okay, no serious hold up there. Just kind of make me wonder if we could do with a traffic light here though. Maybe one there. Just left myself with a potentially longer walk than the one I would have had if I just walked from the base, but never mind. I'd quite like another door as well. So there have been a lot of attacks on the coal mine, but they may have been caused by the new artillery. But either way, it would not hurt for me to do some repairs. Okay, so if we were going to do some artillery for the coal mine, it might be nice to put it here, I suppose. It's really a good spot, so we want it further north. Might want it a bit further north. Although, yeah, actually, if we look at the coverage, maybe having it here wouldn't be a bad thing. This is lots of room for it. Okay, so if I make an artillery turret here. There we go. So we want to give the coal mine a wide berth. I suppose I could even load it in from the other side. Make things a little easier in some ways. Okay, so we're going to need, in fact, let me send you off. Because that way I can put a filter down without having to worry about it stealing all of the coal. So I want to whitelist artillery shells. So in theory, when the normal coal train comes past, this will do nothing. But if we summon the artillery train, which I'm guessing probably has something in it by now, it will actually drop some artillery shells. Someone's coming to attack us. Oh, it's alright. They were able to handle it. Still, I don't think it's a bad thing that we've got artillery working. Feels like we might be just in time. Right, okay, so for the... That press there. No big issue there. Okay. So for the artillery train, artillery pickup, we will presumably do full cargo. Coal mine north, now that's going to be interesting because I don't want to wait for empty cargo in case it ever gets full. So what we're going to do for these is we're actually going to put a time passed option. Put it on 120 for now. Still going to hold thing. We'll probably end up having to knock that down to 30. Okay, so at the moment it's not full, so it's still going to sit there, but I want to test the concept, so I'm going to set it off going anyway, just to make sure it does actually fire. And I'm also going to have to make sure I sever the link, because otherwise the artillery is going to shoot, and that is what I do not want. But let's just make sure the shell comes out. It does. So we've got 4 shells happily on their way. So I guess I'll just sever it here for now. Pretty sure that will work. Ooh, that's a problem. How am I going to stop it from loading the artillery train up with coal? Okay, so I think I am actually going to have to do another station. Just trying to remember now how I normally do this. Can I get away with putting a station here? Artillery coal. I'll do as a name for this one, I think. So in that case, the drop-off would have to be here, wouldn't it? Yeah, so the problem I've got is that while I can filter the artillery, so it will only take artillery from the train, it'll only take things from the artillery train, I can't filter things being put onto the train. I don't believe I have a way to say, oh, only this train should accept coal. I don't believe that I do. So I'm going to want to get rid of that, and instead we're going to do artillery coal, time past 120. Honestly, that's way excessive. I think 30 is going to be fine. With fast inserters, 30 will be plenty. Okay, right, the coal train's coming back anyway, so we'll make sure the coal train at least works. We can retest the artillery train in a bit. I need to go get all that coal off it first. But as long as the coal train's actually working, which it looks like it is, then I think we're fine for now. As always, it's very important to test everything you set up. Now, what am I doing? There we go. So we could actually test that now. Just offload this coal first. Actually, yeah, I will. I'll just give it a test. It should allow us to ride the coal train back as well. Well, not ride it back, but bring it back. Okay, take me over there. I'm just a bit conscious that we've made a bit of a disparity in the coal streams, because we massively loaded this one up, so the coal train's probably got one carriage fully loaded now, but it's not going to come back until the other carriage is fully loaded, and it's just going to be a bit of a mess. Okay, so you're back. So if I just send... Well, I was going to say if I just send the coal train back, but... oh, well, I suppose I can anyway. I can always bring it back once the artillery's done. Okay, so we'll just check the artillery works. It's not being loaded up. I mean, it might get loaded with a little bit of coal, so we probably wouldn't get away with this anywhere else. Oh, we might actually, because it will only accept fuel. But it doesn't look like it's accepting anything. And it's dropped its artillery, so that's good. Okay, brilliant, we're fine. Just bring the coal train back to pick me up and hopefully finish loading its wagon. And I feel like we can't get this new artillery up and running fast enough. And there you go. Just want to get these equalised if possible. It's not the end of the world. Actually, they're more or less done. Brilliant. Take me home. And then I can start worrying about copper again. Right. So where are our copper trains right now? There you are. I feel like I'm going to have to check all the mines again because we're just not getting enough copper. Oh, okay, maybe we are. It's not as bad as I thought. Okay, well in that case, why is it taking so long to move on nuclear power? I thought we'd be ready to go by now. Right, we're out of cyan modules, and we're out of advanced circuits. So it is this that's the problem. So it's not totally unreasonable for me to be fretting about the copper. I think I should go and check it out. Maybe something vaguely useful to do while the nuclear power research is going, and while we're building, hopefully building lots and lots of artillery shells, so we can get that coal mine one up and running. Alright, where are we up to? Not too bad. So we still probably want to keep the possibility of another copper mine in consideration. I suppose it depends. I mean, Overseas doing is slowing us down a bit. So it's just a question of whether we have enough other things to do while things are happening. But I'm just conscious that a lot of these, well, this mine especially, is quite new. So it's got a higher than average chance of something having run out. Such as this one. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to make things any better by moving it here. But still, it solves the immediate issue at least. Okay, no other obvious problems. Actually, to be fair, we may as well just go straight for Copper Mine South. Look for any issues there. And if it happens that Copper Mine South is absolutely full of copper waiting to go, then all the better. See, things are slowing down as well, so I'm guessing... Okay, maybe they're not slowing down. Maybe I'm just used to the fast ones now. Fair enough. Right, I can't see any problems here at all, apart from perhaps a lack of ammunition. Let's just top that up a little. I need to pick some more up. But it does look like we did have quite a bit ready to go here. So maybe I should actually drop it off this time before going on to the next one, and I will grab some more ammunition while I'm at it. Just in case the next mine could do some as well. So I should possibly have tried to replace the loading things with fast inserters. I think I have done that on some of the mines. Well, maybe I'll do it on the next one. Okay, speaking of, take me to the next one. I do quite like running trains if there's a lack of power because they don't use electricity to run. Obviously we're now at the point where there's enough trains that it's not something I'm going to be kicking off manually. I think you could stand to have a couple more. There we go. Here's part of our problem at least. Yeah, see, this one is using fast inserters to load. So actually, if we go back to Copper Mine South, I might give it fast inserters. And it already has fast inserters. So where were we where we didn't have fast inserters? Oh, it was these I was thinking looked slow. I see. Interesting. Okay, I might need to think about that a bit more. But for now I'm just going to take this back to base to offload. I've set it so it'll go back to the far southwest one next, I think, because that's the one we went to first. Of course it's going to be stuck there for a while. So yeah, I really do need to have a bit of a think, and I completely forgot to do the ammunition in the Copper Mine South. Never mind. Let's see if there's anything else useful I can do, and hold that thought because something has been destroyed. That's deeply unhelpful. Okay. I will just have to wait for the next one and maybe keep an eye out when I'm going around places. Still, did we never... It very much looks like we never actually set up an input for advanced circuits. Oh no, no, there we are. They're just not that obvious. Right, I see. Like they're not backing up quite as much as the others, so they are less clear. Alright, it's still the cyan ones we need though, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, well, fine. Clearly the time has come to lay more concrete around the base. Because it's either that or make a new copper mine. And I'm still not convinced it's completely necessary. Trying to remember where I've actually been lately. I can certainly make this a bit wider. Fill in a bit over here, because I do come up here every so often to check on the progress of the yellow ones. It would not be a bad thing to make that a bit easier. It does feel like the attacks have got worse. But I suppose they are supposed to over time with pollution. I just felt like with having so many of the larger natives around that maybe we'd max them out. But I guess not. I guess they still have room to get even worse. But we will get the artillery fully operational everywhere. And once we've got nuclear power in, we'll be able to start looking at the flying robot drones, which will allow us to make proper use of mines, which we started building a very long time ago. It'd be nice to finally actually use them. I suppose we could use them now, it's just that they don't get automatically replaced, so we'd have to do it manually. I was thinking about down here as well. I think I made a detour to get to the train not long ago. So it would perhaps not be a bad thing to widen this out a little. I kind of feel like I should be using hazard blocks for the train station, really. Haven't really used them. Normally I make proper train crossings, railway crossings. I haven't really felt the need yet. I've mostly been okay just with keeping an eye out. I haven't sped the trains up. So possibly it would be more necessary if I did do that. I haven't really felt the need to do that either, as of yet. Okay. How are these doing? Now they're getting there, but I think I might go check on that base anyway. Seeing as the train happens to be here. I feel like there's a distinct lack of useful things I can do until the nuclear power research finishes. And that just seems to be a matter of advanced circuits. So I might go back and stick a load more in artificially soon, but I just want to check that everything is hunky-dory here. That looks pretty good. Oh, was this our lost turret? Hopefully it was. Didn't think I'd find it quite this soon. Yeah, that is a good point actually. It is something I do need to do, is get a southern artillery station and get our artillery down there. So I do have something I need to be working on. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Have any fear? We can use one of the existing ones, but I don't really want it to be blocking stuff. We could just use this one, because I mean if we've got to the point where there are 3 trains, are we really likely to be blocking anything? But then I do want the artillery one to be sat here for quite a while, if possible. So maybe I should just try and create a 4th station. Okay, right, that's clearly too far up. There we go. Okay, brilliant. So we just check our existing one. So that's artillery pickup north, so this can be artillery pickup south, I guess. Although in theory we treat this as southwest. So maybe it should be artillery pickup southwest. I think the assumption was that I might make another set of stations here potentially, but I can't see that happening. But I'll stick with a naming convention anyway. Okay. Let me just make a couple more of these. Just a little conscious that could cause problems. So it's probably going to be a completely different train, but we're going to have to get our stuff there. However, we have just researched nuclear power. So it probably doesn't mean we're going to get it operational, because we still need to research the Covarex process. At least it's a start. So what do we have with this? We have a basic nuclear reactor. We have a heat exchanger, which is, I believe, the equivalent of the boiler. So the thing that probably isn't immediately obvious is a nuclear power station is essentially just a steam engine again. Not a steam engine, but steam power. So it's very similar to our existing coal engines, So we've still got a steam turbine. The heat exchanger I think is essentially the same as the boiler. And we can now make uranium fuel cells. Okay, brilliant. That all makes sense. However, I'm going to go and build those, but we do need to get working on I don't necessarily need nuclear fuel reprocessing. I don't need a portable fission reactor. What I need is a Covarex process. Covarex enrichment process, okay. But I can't do that until I've researched rocket fuel. So that's going to be our next one. And that's something we use light oil for as well, which is interesting. I don't know if we actually need to make rocket fuel yet, but it might be a good idea to, because we're clearly going to need it. Seeing as our objective in this game is to get off this planet. So yeah, okay, so we're researching rocket fuel. What else have we got? We need to make a nuclear reactor. And at least some of all of these things. A nuclear reactor needs a lot of concrete and a lot of steel and a lot of everything, in fact. And we can now make uranium fuel cells, which we make. Looks like we actually might use an assembling machine. Interestingly. Still. Nope, that's refined concrete. And we need ridiculous amounts of advanced circuits. Actually, while we're getting the ridiculous amounts of advanced circuits, I might just fill these guys up again. Because that should allow them to get a backlog together. Okay, we need lots of steel and lots of copper. Right, we've lost a turret up there. That's alright, that's where we're going to be building our nuclear power plant. So we'll be heading up there anyway. Okay. Build that. And build a heat exchanger. Need multiple steam turbines, I think. So let's get some gear wheels and pipes so that we're not doing it all by hand. Those are engines, Tom, not pipes. This is where you keep your pipes. Let's make 3 of those, and then we're going to need these heat pipes to transfer energy. Not sure how many of those we're going to need, but let's just stock up on copper and steel and we'll work them out when we get there. And I might just dump a bit of copper into our circuit factory while we're at it, just while we're passing, even though it does look like they are completely overloaded. I'm just going to overload them even further. Okay, let's leave them to it then. Let's see, I should have put some more concrete down here. Ah, excellent. Excellent timing. So we're also going to need to think about somewhere to put an artillery station in this area. So I actually have a few things to think about. Could I make an artillery station here, I wonder? Sorry, Mr. Tree. I feel like I probably could. Doesn't need to be as long, does it? I reckon that'd do, wouldn't it? May as well actually build a station to test it. Yeah, I think that's fine. So we just need to make sure we have enough traffic lights to stop it from being a major problem. Okay. We just lost one here as well. Yeah, we definitely need to get these artilleries up and running. Okay, so I guess this one will be artillery nuclear. Just want a name that makes it obvious what it is. Okay, nuclear power. So we want a nice wide open space. I mean, this looks good. Okay, so here's our nuclear reactor. It needs uranium fuel cells to operate, of course. So the way these work, I believe they are considered more efficient if you put a bunch of them together, because it's all about maintaining heat. A heat exchanger. Right, so the heat exchanger needs water. Yes, of course, uses heat energy to turn water into steam. I'm trying to think of a reason to actually put any distance between this at all. I can't immediately think of one, because I'm probably going to do one heat exchanger per... Well, we don't need to though, do we? We can do multiple heat exchangers per nuclear station. So maybe that would be a reason to put a little bit of distance, just so that we can get them all operating. Okay, so these heat pipes are basically used to connect up the nuclear reactor to anything that is requiring heat. So in theory that should work. If we give this fuel cells, we will get power. And we can definitely have way more of these. And probably more of these, actually. Okay. So we just need uranium fuel cells to be coming in here, which is fine. So can I make uranium fuel cells in an assembler? I can. Okay, so these need iron plates, uranium-235, uranium-238. That's fine. We already have iron, so that's good. I don't know if we're going to need more of these or if one will be enough. So let's assume the worst, that we're going to need more of them. So we'll set it up so that it's going past so that we can extend in this direction if we need to. How many of each does it actually need? So we need a ton of U-238 and we need quite a lot of iron plates. So I should probably put the uranium here. I'm going to try and get the uranium onto a single setup. But it is actually the uranium we're going to need more of. And I am going to need to go and get some more of these. So yeah, didn't prepare that properly. Never mind. It's been a while since I last did this. Actually, while I'm looking at it, while we're here, I should just check these. Nope, they're still going. Still look fine, okay. So I should definitely make at least one more heat exchanger, at least 3 more of the steam things. Maybe 5 more. As you can perhaps tell, getting the nuclear reactor working is a bit of a big deal. It's not just the research, it's all of the setup as well. Right, I might make a couple of those. I definitely want way more copper. Of gear wheels, I think. How am I for pipes? Out of pipes. Okay. That is fine. Pipe thing hidden here. Oh no, I'm not out of pipes. Okay, well that's fine. Right. Okay, for inserters, looks like I'm on power poles and actually turrets as well. A little low on your standard drones too. I'm getting a few more of them. And I'm probably out of gear wheels, if not pipes. Yeah, pipes are fine. Gear wheels I could do with just topping up a little. Okay, cool, let's head back. I think that's done, as well as is possible. I'm definitely not going to have nuclear power working this session. In fact, I'm sufficiently far from having it working when I'm kind of feeling like we should probably wrap up there and we'll just carry on where we left off for now. Yeah, I think I better add. We're sort of getting to time. So, okay. So, we have one artillery that's completely there. So this area is totally safe, pretty much. If those natives form a base, this will immediately fire on them. So that has excess artillery, and it's just completely keeping this area clear. We made the necessarily foundations for getting another one up and running here. But it's not unleashed yet. And started making some very basic prep for a southern version and an artillery over here. Beyond that, we've researched nuclear power and we've made a start on building a reactor. In fact, I technically have some of the things I was going to put in. The coal stations themselves can take an awful lot of these turbines, well, their own turbines, more than I actually gave them. But certainly with the nuclear power, you feel very justified in making an enormous number of them. So like 4 is probably just going to be the start, but we'll see how we get on. So at the moment I'm looking at lining these up, and we're going to need to send water all the way down here. So there's quite a bit to set up. The needs are a little involved. But yeah, we're actually... I mean, that's good because we still need to research the Covrex process before we're really going to set it off running. Not saying I won't necessarily do a test fire, but before we can really rely on nuclear, I want the Covrex process working. For which we need rocket fuel. So yeah, we do have a bit set up, but that's not a bad thing because we've got quite a bit of research to do anyway. As you can see, we needed a humongous amount of copper to get this working. Most of this is copper, a lot of the heat exchange is copper. There's a lot of iron in these, but they still use a fair bit of copper. And there's a ton of copper in the nuclear reactor itself. So, so yeah, that won't have done our copper supplies any good at all. But yeah, we're kind of halfway there on the nuclear reactor, but we are making good progress. And beyond that, the attacks have got worse. I need to remember that we've lost a... Was it here we lost one? I thought it was here. Lost a turret here, so we do need to fix that. We'd better check on the ammunition of all of our bases, because the attacks really are hotting up a bit. But we will keep working towards getting the artillery up and running, and of course once the nuclear power's up and running, we can start looking at flying drones, and then we'll have auto repairs and we'll be able to use mines, and that will really push back the enemy's attacks for a while in itself. So it's all looking good, I'm not worried. It's, yeah, good progress, and I'm pretty excited to finally get nuclear power up and running. So yeah, but we'll leave that for next time, and thank you for watching, and I will see you then.